Welcome to this session. We will look at some more aspects of strategy, starting from functional strategy, some of the curves given by General Electric person, all those types of things in this particular session. One is what is called the functional strategy. What is this functional strategy? If you really look at this functional strategy, this is the approach followed by a functional area to achieve the objectives set by the corporate and business strategy by maximizing resource productivity. So, you are looking at productivity, increase the productivity with respect to the functional area by whatever methods, whether you look at experience curve or you look at reducing the cost of raw materials, all those types of things. So, this can give you an edge in the marketplace. Concerned with nurturing and development of distinctive competencies. This is what I gave you with respect to this example of Gillette company, that is the Mash 3 shaving blades. So, this distinctive competitive advantage of the Gillette company is holding good even to this day. Its competitors are not able to dent this particular competence of this firm. For a functional strategy to be successful, it should be built on a distinctive competence within a functional area. Kindly note this. If the company does not have a distinctive competence in the area, it could consider outsourcing. See, many of the IT companies do this outsourcing on a regular basis of many of their functions, maybe transport, canteen activities, or some of their guest house activities. All this not really managed by the companies, given to different outsourcing units. They are the ones which are doing it, whether you name the companies, whether it is TCS or Infosys, they are doing it on a regular basis. So, even some of their functional areas, maybe with respect to payrolls in the administration or the accounts, again outsourced. So, done through different firms. For those firms also, it is a what do you call a business which is doled out or handed out by this parent company. So, it can also be a revenue earner for them. So, this functional strategy is the one which resulted for these IT companies in outsourcing. If you really see, go to page number 144 in my book. It gives you some ideas of this functional strategy. And with respect to distinctive competency, it says 3 points. One is customer value. It must make a disproportionate contribution to customers' perceived value. That is it. So, if you really some of the what do you call, some of the taglines which are used by many of these IT companies, they convey this. Okay. So, one of the taglines, it is almost giving you, for example, IBM says customer satisfaction. What is this customer satisfaction? It may mean nothing for the outsider, but for the insider it means a lot. Suppose you raise some issue with IBM. Then the company has the internal rules that that issue should be sorted out within 24 hours, whichever part of the globe. So, if you take Infosys, the tagline which goes is powered by intellect, driven by values. So, if you really see, this powered by intellect is its wonderful skilled strength, labor strength which it has. It also has values. It is not prepared to compromise on most of the ethics with respect to business, which most of the IT majors are, okay, whether it is Wipro or TCS or Infosys or Mindtree, not willing to compromise on customer ethics. Then competitor unique is the second thing, that is, it must be unique and superior to competitor capabilities. You should survive in the marketplace. Then extendability, it must be something that can be used to develop new products stroke services or enter new markets. So, this is what this company Mindtree has done very well with respect to this functional strategy, if you really look at the marketplace. And started off as a medium size unit, now acquired by a well known brand L&T, now having its distinctive edge in the marketplace, doing well. Then outsourcing refers to purchasing a product or service which the company was previously producing. Example, Templeton has contracted its mutual fund services to Infosys. AT&T has contracted its credit card to Total System Services. It should be remembered that the key to outsourcing lies in purchasing from outside only those activities that are not key to the company's distinctive competencies. Sometimes outsourcing has its own disadvantages, sometimes delivery schedules might get affected, all those types of things are possible. But as a result of this functional strategy came out this outsourcing, okay, whether the company can outsource some of the activities which are not key to the company's distinctive competencies. So, this is what came out of this functional strategy. If you really look at the corporate culture in the present with respect to all this, corporate culture can be viewed as a collection of beliefs, expectations and values learned and shared by the organization's members and transmitted from one generation to the other. So, this is what you call in different terminologies, that is the value systems. Two distinct attributes, intensity and integration. Intensity refers to the degree to which members of the unit accept the norms, values or other cultural content associated with the unit. So, this corporate culture fulfills the following important functions, like conveys a sense of identity for the employees, helps generate employee commitment to something greater than themselves, that is, identify with the organization, adds to the stability of the organization as a social system, serves as a frame of reference for the employees to make sense out of the organizational activities and to use as a guide for appropriate behavior. So, these are some of the things which corporate culture can help. So, some of these new terms which are used in performance evaluation. One of that is referring to J curve. This is called floating J curve. It was given by the GE's founder Jack Welch, first noticed by him, given by him. It is in fact known as the Welch J, sometimes referred to as the Welch J curve also. That is, helps in future predictions, things would get worse before it got better. So, he was the first person to say that suppose something goes very bad, do not become panicky in an organization, possibly it will get better. So, J curve would shift to right as time came closer, that is, it goes to this side. Then myopic pessimism becomes clear here. So, that is what I just said. Many times when things are not going, you tend to become pessimistic, but this, according to Jack Welch, he noticed it with respect to his own company and came out with this. And sometimes this gave some few new matrices also. One, this thing which gave was what is called the grand strategy matrix with respect to competitive position and market growth. So, you have market growth growing from slow to rapid and competitive position going from weak to strong, and you have the 4 quadrants, that is, just look at one quadrant. Q1 gives with respect to market development, market penetration, forward integration, backward integration, horizontal integration, divestiture, liquidation. See how it changes when it moves to different quadrants. So, this is this matrix drawn taking into account the competitive position and market growth. So, this is sometimes referred to as the grand strategy matrix. Then when you look at competitive convergence, so in the present day context, if you look at it, so this is firms compete on the basis of similar strategies as in strategic groups. So, suppose it is advantageous to compete on the basis of similar strategies, then this competitive convergence is operating. Cannot be the basis for sustained competitive advantage. Kindly note this. Firms to compete for unique positioning, that is different strategies, it is competitive divergence, also loosely related to Prahlad's concept of dominant managerial logic. So, this is how it is. Now, all this leads you to strategic choice. So, we looked at so many different portfolio matrices, we looked at functional strategies, and if you look at these functional strategies gave room to what is referred to as outsourcing, and we said suppose it is not in the distinctive competence area of the firms, it may be better for the firm to think of outsourcing. So, the functional strategies can be with reference to different functional areas. You can have a strategy with respect to marketing, you can have a strategy with respect to finance, you can have a strategy with respect to R&D. All this is brought out in my book on page number 144 and 145, and one exhibit on operation strategy is also given here. That is on page number 146. If you really see, this is with respect to Whirlpool of India Limited, a part of the US home appliance major Whirlpool Corporation, leading player in the white goods market, commanding a 27% market share in refrigerators and 20% in washing machines. Already a leading player in washing machines, the company plans to enter lower segment of the market to cater to the middle income group. Whirlpool's success formula is simple: continuously innovates its products, keeping in mind customer preferences and market demands. As a result, Whirlpool products have some of the most user friendly features. What are these? For instance, the microwave's unique tawa can cook Indian dishes like parathas, crisp dosas and kebabs. The sixth sense feature knows whether the food is cooked or needs to be cooked further. The three-dimensional wave distribution system ensures there are no hot and cold areas in the dishes, and food is cooked thoroughly even when the turntable is switched off. The White Magic range of semi-automatic washing machines have hand wash agitators, and its unique rotating brush with soft flexible bristles removes tough stains, especially from collars and cuffs, without damaging them. This Whirlpool, when it was introduced, it was claiming its superiority in the market, as it's very close to hand wash. That was its tag. The Ice Magic refrigerator makes ice about 20 minutes faster than any other refrigerator in the same category. Having enriched its product range with such uniquely featured high-tech appliances, Whirlpool is confident that it can enhance customer loyalty for the brand and consolidate its leadership in the country. And before we stop, we look at this exhibit 8.4 on page number 148 in the book. This is with respect to the strategic decision making process in Intel. What is that? The BOD of Intel met in 91 to decide the future of the company. They were being asked to vote on a proposal to commit $5 billion for making the next generation of microprocessor chips. This was 5 times the amount previously needed for the 486 chip and 50 times for that of the earlier 386 chip. Intel was already the world's largest manufacturer of microprocessors by 91, the brains of the PC. The latest chip 486 was just beginning to take off. Its successor Pentium was still on the drawing board. So Intel CEO Andy Grove received the startling estimate of the capital spending required to make the Pentium just before the start of the board meeting. Grove hastily drew the spending curve on the graph paper as the directors looked on. In looking back on the board meeting, Grove remarked, "I remember people's eyes looking at the chart and getting big. I wasn't even sure I believed those numbers at that time." The proposal committed the company to build new factories, something that Intel had been slow to do in the 80s. According to Intel director Arthur Rock, a wrong decision would mean that the company would end up with a killing overcapacity. "You had to have faith," said Rock. Based on Grove's presentation, the board decided to take the gamble. As a result, Intel's manufacturing expansion consumed $10 billion from 91 to 95, however timed perfectly for the boom in PC sales. Although rivals Motorola and IBM were also adding to the capacity, none have been able to generate the cash generated by Intel's 75% market share of the microprocessor sales. In this one crucial decision, Intel was able to turn the spiraling cost of competition into a competitive weapon. Okay, if you really see this is if you really see the Intel, the number of outlets or the units it has in the US is quite a big number in the present day. So, many times when you looked at Intel, the Portland unit one thought was very big, that is Intel's Portland unit. Now, if you look at the present day units, there are so many units spread of Intel around US, all of them are equally big or even bigger. So, this is what the some of these strategic decisions can do. So, we will stop here, we will look at strategic choice in the next class, and we will also look at the current Indian situation when we take this further forward. Thank you.